She arrived with the intent to attack him, and that was her fundamental error. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar stood at the witness podium with her prepared remarks in hand, ready to lecture House Speaker Mike Johnson regarding Christian nationalism and threats to democracy and extremism. She had her talking points organized while her progressive allies waited and her media supporters prepared to amplify the message. This was supposed to be her significant moment and her viral dismantling of the new Republican speaker. She did not realize what was about to take place. Johnson sat opposite her in the House Ethics Committee hearing room during a public session with C-SPAN cameras recording and America watching. He appeared calm and acted like a Louisiana gentleman, displaying soft-spoken politeness and the kind of Southern manners that disarm a person before destroying them. Being a constitutional lawyer who had argued before the Supreme Court, he never lost his composure and never raised his voice. He did not need to shout because he possessed something superior to volume, which was truth and evidence and receipts. Omar finished her opening offensive reading the prepared remarks about Christian nationalism, threatening multicultural democracy, and religious extremism in government, and the danger of faith-based policy. She felt confident and righteous, and certain she had landed her blows. Johnson smiled, not with a mean expression, but with something worse, which was a knowing smile, like a prosecutor about to present evidence the defendant does not know exists. Congresswoman Omar, thank you for those remarks, which were very passionate and very concerning. You are correct that we should be worried about extremism in Congress and foreign influence and loyalty to other countries over America. You are absolutely right that we should be very worried about enriching families through political office and about fraud and betrayal. He paused for a moment to let the statement hang in the air. Therefore, let us talk about you. He opened a folder which was a thick binder with documents visible, including financial records and campaign filings and official reports. All of these were public records, and all of them were incriminating. You questioned my loyalty to America and suggested my faith makes me dangerous, and implied I serve something other than the Constitution. That is an interesting accusation which we call projection in psychology, when you accuse others of what you do yourself. So, before we discuss my supposed extremism, let us examine yours. Let us discuss where your loyalty lies and follow your money. Let us review your scandals. Let us see who the real threat to America is. He looked at her directly with that Southern gentleman politeness still present, but with steel underneath and something lethal beneath that. Help me understand, Congresswoman, exactly how much money you paid your husband's company from your campaign. Her hand went to her hijab in a nervous gesture, which was a small tell that Johnson saw and filed away. That is a matter of public record, and was fully disclosed. I asked how much, Congresswoman, specifically how much of your donor's money went to your husband's company. She hesitated, which was a fatal mistake. Campaign consulting is standard practice. I am asking for the amount, Congresswoman, simply, how much? There was silence because she could not say it, and could not admit it out loud because the number was too big and too obvious and too corrupt. Johnson said it for her, noting it was more money than most Americans will make in their entire lifetime. That is how much your husband's company received for your family's enrichment from donors who trusted you and believed you would use their money for campaigns and democracy and representation. Instead, you made your family wealthy while they struggled and sacrificed and gave money they could not afford. You enriched yourself. That is not representation, Congresswoman, that is fraud. He let the moment breathe, to let America absorb it and let the anger build. 5 scandals and 5 rounds and 5 proofs of one truth. You serve Somalia first and not America. Somalia always, and Somalia never America. Let us begin. The room was silent in that particular way that means everyone knows they are about to witness something significant. Johnson held up the first document, which was a Federal Election Commission report that was official and undeniable and a matter of public record. You took donations from hard-working Americans, and some gave what they could barely afford, such as $25 or $50 or $100. That is significant money for families struggling to pay rent and buy food and keep the lights on. They believed in you and trusted you and thought their money would help elect representatives and help campaigns and help democracy. He paused and looked at her, asking where their money went, Congresswoman. She tried her prepared deflection, stating campaign expenditures are carefully documented. And where did it go, he asked, as her voice got defensive and reached a higher pitch. My campaign complied with all disclosure requirements. To your husband's company is where it went. So help me understand, Congresswoman. Your donors sacrificed when their kids needed shoes, and their rent was late, and their car was breaking down. But they gave anyway because they believed and trusted and thought you were different. He pulled out more documents showing campaign finance reports with payments listed over and over, month after month and year after year, all going to one place. And you took that money and that sacrifice and that trust and paid it to your husband, Tim Minette, and his consulting firm, E Street Group. For what services exactly and what consulting did you need that only your spouse could provide? What expertise did he uniquely possess, and what results did he deliver that justified paying him more than your donors will make in their entire lifetime? Her mouth opened, but no words came. What could she say when the records were public and the payments were documented and the corruption was proven? Let us talk about your donors, Congresswoman, who are real people who gave you real money. They are working families in Minnesota and immigrants who came to America legally and followed every rule because they believed you represented them and thought you would fight for them. His voice got softer but more dangerous. They work 2 jobs or 3 jobs and do whatever it takes with both parents working and kids barely seeing them. They are exhausted all the time with bodies breaking down and spirits wearing thin, but still fighting and trying and believing America rewards hard work. And when they see you, they think she understands and came from nothing and will fight for us and will use our donations wisely and will represent our struggles. He looked directly at her and stated, you betray them. You take their small donations of money they needed and money that meant something, and you pay millions to your husband. Your family gets wealthy while their families stay poor. You sacrifice none while they sacrifice everything. That is not representation, that is exploitation. Someone in the gallery spoke up, who was an older woman with a Somali accent and a tired voice. I donated $80 to her over 2 campaigns, and I am on a fixed income, so that money mattered. I skipped things to afford it because I believed her when she said she would fight for working families and immigrants like me who did it right. I thought my money would help, but it helped her husband and made her family rich while I still struggle. The woman sat down while others murmured agreement and anger and betrayal. Johnson continued relentlessly, now noting that the Federal Election Commission investigated, not Republicans and not political enemies, but the federal agency that oversees campaign finance. They investigated the payments to your husband's company and know what they found. He held up the report on official FEC letterhead. Violations were not alleged or suspected, but violations were proven and documented. You broke campaign finance law and paid your husband amounts that violated regulations. You used campaign money improperly, and you had to reimburse and pay a fine and admit wrongdoing. Her hands were shaking now with a visible tremor. This was bad. And this was documented, and this was proven. Not a conspiracy theory, and not a partisan attack, but a federal violation officially found and publicly acknowledged. Help me understand, Congresswoman, when you were writing those checks to your husband's company and enriching your family and using donor money for personal benefit. Were you thinking about your donors? She tried to speak, but her voice was weak, saying the services provided were necessary. Were you thinking about the Somali grandmother who donated $80 she could not afford? Campaign consulting is standard, she started to say. Were you thinking about the working families giving $50 instead of buying their kids new shoes? This is standard, she tried again. Were you thinking about them, or were you thinking about your bank account? Silence followed a long silence of 10 or 15 seconds. She had no answer, and no defense, and no explanation that did not sound corrupt. Johnson leaned forward, stating, "You were not thinking about them, you were thinking about yourself, your family, and your enrichment, and your wealth. Their sacrifice funded your comfort, and their trust funded your betrayal. While your veterans and your working families struggled to survive, you paid millions to your husband. Different rules apply to you, and a different system exists for you. Your enrichment comes from their exploitation." He turned to the camera and to America. That is round one, proving campaign finance fraud by the Federal Election Commission, not alleged, but proven. Donor money went to the husband's company, meaning their sacrifice became your enrichment. Let us follow the money, Congresswoman, because it always tells the truth. And round two is about another fraud, and another betrayal, and another crime involving the marriage, and the brother, and the immigration system. You may have cheated while your families waited years to come legally. This one is personal. Share this comment if you donated to her because round two is loading. Johnson pulled out different documents now, including marriage certificates and immigration records and school documents. All public record and all confusing and deliberately confusing. Omar saw them, and her breathing changed, becoming faster and shallower. This was the one she could not explain, and the one that haunted her, and the one with no good answer. Congresswoman, let us talk about your marriages. Help me understand the timeline where you married one person, then married another person, then divorced the first person, then divorced the second person, then married the second person again. Confusing, right, and almost deliberately confusing, like you are trying to hide something. He spread the documents out for the camera and for America. Evidence suggests, and I am being careful with words here, because you have threatened lawsuits that evidence suggests you may have married your brother. Your actual brother, not metaphorically or culturally, but your biological brother to commit immigration fraud to get him into America illegally. Her face went pale, because this was the accusation she feared most, the one she could never fully refute, and the one that followed her everywhere. Now you say it is not true, and you call it a conspiracy theory, and claim it is racist, and threaten legal action. But you never actually prove it is false, and never provide the documents that would clear it up. Never take the DNA test that would end it, and never explain the confusing marriages, and never clarify the sealed records. Just attack, and just deflect, and just claim victimhood. He held up more documents, but here is what we know. Same address on marriage documents, and same school records, and same family connections. Photos showing family relationships and immigration timing that is suspicious. Marriage records that do not make sense, and divorce records that are sealed, and your absolute refusal to clarify any of it. Help me understand, Congresswoman, if you are innocent, why not prove it? If you are clean, why not show documents? If you are legitimate, why not take a DNA test? She tried her standard response that this has been thoroughly debunked. By whom and who debunked it? Because not you. You never provided evidence, just claimed debunking, but evidence says otherwise, and documents say otherwise, and records say otherwise, and your refusal to clarify says otherwise. He turned to the audience, asking them to think about this. If someone accused you of marrying your sibling to commit federal fraud, what would you do? You would immediately prove them wrong and show documents and take tests and provide evidence and clear your name. Because the accusation is horrible and disgusting and career-ending if true, so you would prove it false immediately. He looked back at her, but you do not. Years of accusations and years of evidence and years of questions, and you never actually prove it false. Just attack the accusers and just claim conspiracy and just play victim. Why and why not just prove it and show the documents and take the test and clear it up once and for all? Silence followed because she could not answer, because any answer would be bad. Admitting to a DNA test means she is not confident in results, and refusing a DNA test means she is hiding. She was trapped. Johnson pressed on, but let us talk about the real victims here. Not you, despite your constant claims of victimhood. You are not the victim because the victims are the immigrants who followed the law and who did it right, and who suffered to come to America legally. His voice got passionate now and angry but controlled. Immigrants who waited years in refugee camps and who followed every rule and who submitted every document and who proved every relationship and who attended every interview. Who did everything right and were separated from family and missed weddings and funerals and births. Who suffered and who sacrificed all to follow the law and all to immigrate legally and all to do it the right way. He pointed at her saying, "And you may have cheated, maybe committed fraud, and maybe brought your brother in illegally through fake marriage. Different rules for you and a different system for you. They wait years while you cheat the system. They follow law while you break law. They suffer while you succeed. America first or Somalia first, because this fraud, if true, is you putting family first and Somalia first, not America first. Never America first." A man stood up in the back, who was a Somali immigrant, speaking with a heavy accent but clear conviction. "I waited 8 years in a refugee camp with my family separated and my children growing up without a father. I followed every rule and every paper and every interview, doing everything legal and everything right. Finally got to America legally, the right way. Now I hear she may have married brother, and she may have cheated. I suffered 8 years while she cheated in months. Is this justice, and is this fair?" He sat down while others nodded, including other Somali immigrants and other legal immigrants, all who had suffered to follow the law, and all felt betrayed if she had cheated it. Johnson's voice got softer and more dangerous. "Help me understand, Congresswoman, if you committed immigration fraud, and I am saying if, because you will not let us examine evidence. If you did, how is that different from any other immigration fraud? How is that different from anyone else who lies to get into America? How is that different from any other crime? Because you are in Congress, or because you are special, or because different rules apply to you?" She could not answer, and would not answer, just sat there as her world collapsed around her. The evidence is there in public record. Anyone can see. Marriage records that do not make sense, and immigration timing that is suspicious, and school documents showing relationships and photos showing family connections. Your absolute refusal to clarify or prove innocence while you lecture America about immigration. You demand open borders and attack enforcement, while you maybe committed fraud. He leaned back, stating, "That is round 2 regarding possible immigration fraud and brother marriage allegation. Evidence you will not refute, and documents you will not release, and a DNA test you will not take. While your families waited years to immigrate legally, and while your neighbors followed every rule, and while your community suffered to do it right, you may have cheated. Different rules for the elite, and a different system for you. America first, or Somalia first, with your family first always. Let us follow the money, Congresswoman, because round 3 is about words. Your words about September 11th, and about terror, and about the worst attack on America, and what you said about it. Share this comment if your family immigrated legally. Round 3 is loading." Johnson reached for the remote, and a screen flickered to life behind them, with a video ready. Omar's video with her own words about to destroy her. She knew what was coming and started to speak, but Johnson held up his hand. "Let us watch together, Congresswoman, and let us let America hear your exact words in your own voice about September 11th. About the worst terrorist attack in American history, and about the day that changed everything. Let us hear how you described it." He pressed play, and her voice filled the room, speaking to a KR audience, which is the Council on American Islamic Relations, an organization with documented terrorist ties, and an organization that defended terrorists, and an organization that opposed American security measures. Her audience that day heard KR was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties. Johnson paused the video. Some people did something. He let those 4 words hang in the air, heavy and obscene and unforgivable. Some people did something is how you describe September 11th. 19 Islamic terrorists and 4 hijacked planes and 3,000 murdered Americans. Families destroyed and children orphaned and widows created and heroes sacrificed and a nation traumatized and the world changed forever. And you call it some people did something. His voice stayed calm, but you could feel the rage underneath, controlled and directed and lethal. Not an attack, and not terrorism, and not mass murder, and not the worst day in American history. Some people did something like it was minor, and like it was forgettable, and like it did not matter. Like 3,000 American lives did not matter, and like the families do not matter, and like the heroes do not matter, and like America does not matter. He pulled out photos printed large for everyone to see, and for the camera to catch, and for America to remember. These are the people who did something, Congresswoman. Look at them, and look at their faces. Look at the towers burning, and look at the people jumping, and look at the firefighters running in. Look at the Pentagon smoking, and look at the Pennsylvania field, and look at what some people did. He showed more photos of faces and names of Americans murdered, and Americans innocent, and American heroes. Nicholas Harros Jr.'s mother died that day, killed by some people who did something. He wore a shirt with your quote to the September 11th memorial and confronted you publicly, demanding you see his mother's face, and demanding you say her name, and demanding you acknowledge her murder. Know what you did. He paused to let the question hang. You did nothing, never apologized to him, and never acknowledged his mother, and never took back your words. Just defended yourself and claimed victimhood and claimed you were misunderstood and claimed context. But context makes it worse, Congresswoman, because let us see the full context. He played more of the video with her full remarks defending CARE and claiming Muslims were the real victims of September 11th, not the murdered Americans. Muslims who faced security measures and who lost some civil liberties and who were inconvenienced. They were the victims in her mind, and not the dead, or the families, or the heroes. Muslims inconvenienced was the tragedy to her. A woman in the gallery stood shaking and crying with her voice breaking. My husband died in Tower 2 as a firefighter who ran in to save people and never came out. 23 years I have lived without him, and 23 years my children grew up without their father. 23 years I have mourned, and she says, some people did something. My husband's murder is something, and his sacrifice is something, and his life meant something. The woman collapsed back into her seat, sobbing while others comforted her, and the room felt heavy and painful and raw. Johnson spoke quietly now, more powerful than shouting. Help me understand, Congresswoman, are you American, and do you feel what we feel? And do you mourn who we mourn? And do you remember what we remember? Because Americans do not say some people did something about September 11th. Americans say never forget, and Americans say their names, and Americans honor their sacrifice, and Americans mourn their loss, and Americans remember their heroes. He looked at her directly, stating, but you do not. You minimize, and you diminish, and you dismiss, and you defend the terrorist-tied organization instead. You make Muslims the victims instead. You turn the worst attack on America into a story about civil liberties and not about mass murder, and not about terrorism, and not about dead Americans. About Muslims inconvenienced is what matters to you, and that is what you mourn, and that is where your sympathy lies. Her hands were trembling now with visible shaking. This was destroying her, not politically, but humanly, because every American watching knew she did not feel what they felt, and knew she did not mourn what they mourned, and knew she was different, and foreign, and other, and not American in her heart. America first, or Somalia first? Because Americans honor September 11th victims, and Americans remember September 11th heroes, and Americans mourn September 11th losses. But you say some people did something. You defend organizations with terrorist ties, and you make Muslims the victims, and you minimize American suffering, and you dismiss American pain. You serve Somalia, and you represent Somalia, and you feel for Somalia, not America, never America. He turned to the camera. While your veterans fought the terrorists who attacked us on September 11th, while your families lost loved ones in those towers, while your firefighters ran into burning buildings, while your country mourned, she said, some people did something. And she never apologized, and never took it back, and never acknowledged she was wrong. Just claimed victimhood, and just attacked critics, and just defended herself. That is who she is, and that is what she represents. Not America, and not Minnesota, and not you. Herself and Somalia always, Somalia, never America. He looked back at her, stating that is round 3. Some people did something, are your words, and your minimization, and your betrayal of September 11th victims, and of September 11th families, and of September 11th heroes, and of America. Share this comment if you remember September 11th, because round 4 is about money again, but different money and a bigger fraud. $250 million stolen from hungry children who are your children, and connections to her and her protection and her silence while kids starved. Loading. Johnson pulled out new documents which were different, and a thicker stack and more detailed. Federal indictments and FBI reports and court filings. This was serious and criminal, serious, and Omar's face showed she knew it. Let us follow the money, Congresswoman, because we always follow the money. $250 million stolen from a program to feed hungry children called Feeding Our Future. A Minnesota nonprofit supposed to provide meals to poor kids during the pandemic when schools were closed, when families were struggling, and when children were literally hungry, and when help was desperately needed. He spread the documents across the table, but the money did not feed children. The money fed fraud, which was massive, organized, systematic fraud. Fake meal sites and fake kids and fake records. Real money and real theft, and real mansions bought, and real Ferraris purchased, and real luxury funded by your tax dollars meant for hungry children. He held up a photo of a mansion which was huge and expensive. This is what fraud bought, while your children went hungry, and while your families struggled, and while your community suffered. Criminals bought mansions and bought luxury cars, and bought jewelry, and bought wealth with money meant to feed your kids. Money meant for hungry children was money stolen, and money protected by silence, and by connections, and by her. Omar tried to speak, saying, "I had no knowledge of this. Help me understand, Congresswoman, about these criminals and these fraudsters and these thieves who stole from hungry children. They donated to your campaigns, and they worked on your campaigns, and they had your personal cell phone number. They were in your community, and they were your people, and they were connected to you, but you knew nothing." He pulled out campaign finance records stating, "These are your own reports and public record. Donations from Feeding Our Future, and donations from the organizers, and donations from the fraudsters. Money stolen from hungry children given to your campaign. You took it, and you kept it, and you spent it. Money laundering, some call it, which is taking dirty money from a criminal enterprise. Your campaign and their profit, and your silence and their protection." He pulled out more records stating, "But it gets worse, much worse. Guhad Hashi Said, your senior campaign finance official and your guy managing your money working for you, was indicted for fraud, for participating in the scheme for stealing from Feeding Our Future. Your campaign official stealing from hungry children while working for you, and you say you knew nothing." Her face was ash white now because this was bad, and this was criminal, and this was provable. Federal indictments and FBI investigation and court cases, all public, all documented, all connecting to her. Johnson's voice got passionate now, not loud, but intense with controlled fury. Think about what this means, and think about the victims who are not abstract victims, but real victims. Children, and American children, and hungry children, and children in your district. Children who needed food, and children who were suffering, and children whose families could not afford meals, and children who went to bed hungry. Real children, and real hunger, and real suffering. He showed more photos of school cafeterias, empty, and kids' faces sad and hungry and real. This is what the fraud cost. The money that could have fed them went to mansions. The money that could have helped them went to Ferraris. The money that could have saved them went to criminals. And you were connected to those criminals, and you took their money, and you employed their colleague, and you had their numbers. And you say nothing, and do nothing, and protect them by silence. A teacher stood up, who was a young woman, obviously exhausted, with her voice shaking with rage. "I teach in Minneapolis, in your district. During the pandemic, my students were hungry, truly hungry. I bought food with my own money, which was money I did not have, but my students needed it. We applied for Feeding Our Future help and got denied because money was not available," they said. Meanwhile, criminals were stealing $250 million. My students went hungry while fraudsters bought mansions, and she was connected to them. She took their money, and she protected them. The teacher sat down while others murmured agreement and fury and betrayal. Johnson continued stating federal trials are ongoing with multiple defendants and multiple indictments and massive evidence. The fraud is proven and the theft is documented, and the connections to you are public record. Your campaign finance official indicted, and your donors charged, and your community members arrested. And you say nothing and do nothing and distance yourself now only because you are forced to. But while it was happening, there was silence and acceptance and protection. He looked at her directly. Help me understand, Congresswoman. When your campaign official was stealing from hungry children, were you thinking about those children? When fraudsters in your community were buying mansions with money meant for meals, were you thinking about hungry students? When your donors were committing federal crimes, were you thinking about the victims? Or were you thinking about your campaign and your money and your career and your protection of your community even when they are criminals? She could not answer and would not answer. No answer would help because admit knowledge, and it is criminal claim ignorance, and it is incompetent, so either way damned. Johnson leaned forward, asking America first or Somalia first, because this fraud was in the Somali community. Your community and your donors and your workers and your connections, and you protected them by silence, protected them by keeping their money, and protected them by employing their colleagues. While American children went hungry, and while your children suffered, and while your tax dollars got stolen, you protected Somali criminals over American children. That is not representation, that is betrayal. He turned to the camera. $250 million stolen from hungry children connected to her through donations and workers and silence. Your children went hungry while criminals bought mansions. Your tax dollars stolen while she kept fraudsters' money. Your community betrayed while she protected them. Let us follow the money, Congresswoman, because it always tells truth, and it tells us where your loyalty lies. Not with hungry American children, but with Somali fraudsters. Share this comment if your kids went hungry during the pandemic. Round 5 is final, and it is the loyalty question. Where does she really stand, America or Somalia? Because her own words answer. Loading. Johnson reached for the remote again for a different video this time. Omar speaking to a Somali audience in the Somali language in Minnesota. Thought Americans would not see it, and thought translation would not matter, and thought she could say the quiet part loud to her people. Didn't realize someone would translate and would expose and would reveal truth. Before I play this, Congresswoman, let me ask directly, America first or Somalia first? Simple question. Where does your loyalty lie? She tried the standard answer, I am proud to represent Minnesota and serve America. That is not what I asked. America first or Somalia first, who do you serve? What country do you represent? Where is your loyalty, America or Somalia? She could not answer directly, and wouldn't answer honestly because she knew the truth would destroy her. So she deflected and attacked and claimed the question itself was racist. This is exactly the kind of watch the video, Congresswoman. Let America hear your own words in your own voice to your own people when you thought Americans were not listening. He pressed play. Her voice speaking Somali, and translation appeared on screen, English subtitles, clear, undeniable, damning. The Somali government is our government. It belongs to us. We need to lobby for it and protect its interests. I encourage all Somali to vote and donate to the campaigns, and use your votes to pressure American politicians to support Somalia. Johnson paused it. Our government, that is what you said about Somalia's government. Not Minnesota's government, not America's government, but Somalia's government, our government. Who is our Congresswoman? Who is we? Because it is not Americans, It is Somalis. You identify as Somali first. You serve Somalia first. You advocate for Somalia first. Not America, not Minnesota, not the people who elected you, but Somalia. He played more. Her voice again, more instructions to Somali audience about using American political system to benefit Somalia. About organizing Somali to pressure American politicians about prioritizing Somali interests in American politics. All clear, all damning, all proof of where her real loyalty lies. You took an oath. Congresswoman, let me read it to you. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. Faith and allegiance to the Constitution, to America, not to Somalia, not to any foreign government, to America, to us, to this country. He stood up now, which was rare for him, and heightened the moment, made it more serious, more final. But your actions betray that oath. Your words betray that oath. Your votes betray that oath. Your loyalty betrays that oath. You serve Somalia. You advocate for Somalia. You call Somalia's government. Our government, you instruct Somali to use American political system for Somali benefit. You prioritize foreign interests over American interests. That is not representation, that is foreign agency, that is betrayal. He pulled out more documents showing voting records and congressional votes. Her pattern, clear, consistent, damning. Voted against recognizing Armenian genocide. Why? Because Turkey did not want you to, and Turkey is important to Somalia. You voted for Turkey against genocide recognition for foreign interests. Voted against sanctioning Venezuela's Maduro regime. Why? Because socialist dictatorship aligns with your ideology. America's interests irrelevant. Voted against Taiwan defense funding. Why? Because China did not want you to, and China is important to Somalia. You voted for China against American ally for foreign interests. Voted to block arms to Israel, America's closest Middle East ally under terrorist attack. Needed help. You voted no. Why? Because Somalia sides with Palestine. You side with Somalia against American interests, always against American interests. Pattern, clear, Congresswoman, every vote, every time. America's interests versus foreign interests, you choose foreign. America versus allies, you oppose allies. America versus enemies, you side with enemies. Not sometimes, not occasionally, always, consistently, predictably. Because you do not serve America, you serve Somalia. You always have, you always will. A veteran stood up, an old man Vietnam-era voice shaking with age and rage. I fought for this country, bled for this flag, took the same oath you took, but I meant it. I kept it. I served America, always America. I watched brothers die for America. I killed for America. I sacrificed for America. And you take that oath while serving Somalia. You represent us while serving foreign government. You vote against American interests while collecting American paycheck. That is treason. That is what we call it, treason. He sat down. Others stood, some clapping, some shouting, some crying, all feeling betrayed, all understanding what they just witnessed. Foreign agent in American Congress taking American oath, serving foreign government, using American power for foreign benefit, and doing it openly, proudly, unashamedly. Johnson's voice cut through the noise. Help me understand, Congresswoman. Final question. Last chance, America first, or Somalia first? Where is your loyalty? Who do you serve? What country do you represent? I am asking directly. I am giving you opportunity to clarify, to explain, to prove me wrong. America first or Somalia first? She opened her mouth. Nothing came. What could she say? The video was her words. The votes were her record. The pattern was clear. The truth was undeniable. She served Somalia, always had, always would. Could admit it, and end career, could deny it, and be proven liar. Either way, finished. Johnson did not wait for answer. Your silence answers your votes. Answer your words. Answer your actions. Answer. Somalia first always. Somalia first never. America first. You took oath to America but serve Somalia. You represent Minnesota but advocate for Mogadishu. You are paid by American taxpayers but prioritize Somali interests. You are foreign agent in American Congress, and you have been exposed. He gathered all the documents, 5 rounds worth. 5 scandals, 5 frauds, 5 betrayals, all proven. All documented, all undeniable. 5 rounds, 5 proofs, 1 truth. Round 1, campaign finance fraud, paid husband millions from donor money meant for campaigns, your donations, their wealth. Federal Election Commission found violations proven, fined, admitted by reimbursement. Round 2. Possible marriage fraud evidence suggests married brother to commit immigration. Fraud won't prove innocence, won't release records, won't take DNA test while your families waited years to immigrate legally. Different rules for elite. Round 3. September 11th minimized some people did something about worst terrorist attack in American history. Your family members murdered. She dismisses your heroes, sacrificed. She ignores, never apologized, never took it back, never felt what Americans feel. Round 4. $250 million stolen from hungry children. Fraudsters connected to her through donations and employment. Your children went hungry. Criminals bought mansions. Your tax dollars stolen. She kept their money. Your community betrayed. She protected fraudsters. Round 5. Somalia. First called Somali government, our government instructed Somali to use American politics for Somali benefit. Voted against American interests, consistently served Somalia while taking oath to America. Your representative serves foreign government. He looked at her one final time. You are not America first, Congresswoman. You are Somalia first. You always have been. You always will be. You took American oath but kept Somali loyalty. You represent American district, but serve Somali interests. You are paid by American taxes, but prioritize Somali benefits. You are foreign agent in American government, and you have been completely, totally, undeniably exposed. He turned to camera to America. That is the truth. 5 rounds of evidence. 5 scandals documented, 5 frauds proven, 1 pattern clear. She serves Somalia, not America. Somalia always, Somalia never America. She is foreign agent in our Congress, and she must be removed. Share this everywhere, comment. Which betrayal angers you? Most subscribe, because more foreign agents exist. More frauds to expose, more betrayals to reveal truth. Wins America first wins, and we are just getting started. Ilhan Omar is not unique. That is what Americans must understand. She is not one bad representative. She is not an isolated case. She is not an aberration. She is a symptom, a warning, a preview of what happens when America forgets to vet its leaders. When political correctness prevents scrutiny, when fear of being called racist stops legitimate questions, when diversity becomes more important than loyalty, when representation matters more than oath. She represents something dangerous, something insidious, something that threatens the republic itself. Foreign loyalty in American government, taking American oath, while serving foreign interests, using American power for foreign benefit, advocating for foreign countries while representing American citizens. That is not representation, that is infiltration, that is subversion, that is foreign agency. And she does it openly, proudly, unashamedly, because no one stops her, because no one questions her, because diversity protects her, because political correctness shields her, because Democrats need her vote, because progressives love her rhetoric, because media covers for her, because challenging her brings accusations of racism, Islamophobia, and bigotry. So she continues serving Somalia, advocating for foreign interests, using American platform for foreign propaganda, voting against American interests, attacking American allies, defending American enemies, all while taking American paycheck, all while representing American district, all while violating American oath. Look at her. 5 frauds, connect them. See the pattern, see what they reveal. Campaign finance fraud shows she enriches family through political office. Takes donations from people who trust her, people who believe in her people, who think she'll fight for them. Then pays millions to husband's company, makes family wealthy while donors stay poor. Their sacrifice funds her comfort, their trust funds her betrayal. That is not unusual in Washington, that is not unique to her. That is political corruption, common across both parties. But she does it while claiming to represent working people, while preaching about inequality, while attacking wealthy elites. Hypocrisy layered on corruption fraud, wrapped in lies. Possible marriage fraud shows she cheats, systems others follow. Legal immigrants wait, years, suffer separation, follow every rule, do everything right. She maybe commits fraud, maybe marries brother, maybe cheats immigration system, won't prove innocence, won't clarify records, won't take DNA test. Just attacks. Questioners just claims victimhood, just deflects with accusations of racism. That is foreign agent behavior, cheating systems, hiding truth, attacking scrutiny, protecting secrets. Because secrets would destroy her, because truth would expose her, because evidence would convict her. Some people did something shows she doesn't feel what Americans feel, doesn't mourn what Americans mourn, doesn't honor what Americans honor. September 11th changed America forever. 3,000 murdered families, destroyed heroes, sacrificed, nation traumatized. Every American remembers, every American mourns. Every American says, never forget. Except her, she says some people did something. She minimizes, she dismisses, she makes Muslims the victims. Instead of murdered Americans, she defends terrorist-tied organizations instead of September 11th families. She is not American. In her heart, she is Somali. She is Muslim, she is other, she is foreign, and she doesn't hide it. She doesn't pretend, she tells you openly if you listen. She serves other interests, other people, other countries. Not America, never America. $250 million fraud shows she protects criminals over children. Fraudsters in her community. Somali criminals stealing from hungry American children. She takes their money, employs their colleagues, has their phone numbers, protects them by silence. While American children go hungry, while your children suffer, while your tax dollars get stolen, She prioritizes Somali community over American children. Even when community is criminal, even when community betrays America, she protects them always. Because they are Somali, because they are hers, because Somalia comes first. Always first, never America. Somalia first proves everything. Her own words, her own video, her own instruction to Somali audience. Our government, meaning Somalia's government, using American political system for Somali benefit, organizing Somali to pressure American politicians for Somali interests. All clear, all documented, all undeniable. She serves Somalia. She advocates for Somalia. She represents Somalia in American Congress, takes American oath, but keeps Somali loyalty, gets American paycheck, but delivers Somali benefit, uses American power for Somali interests. That is foreign agency. That is what foreign agents do. That is what enemies do. That is what she is. 5 frauds, 1 pattern, 1 truth. She is foreign agent in American Congress, and she is not alone. Look at the squad. Look at her colleagues. Look at the pattern. Rashida, Palestinian-American Congresswoman, serves Palestine more than America attacks Israel constantly. America's closest Middle East ally under terrorist attack needs help. Opposes why Palestine, always Palestine. Calls Israel apartheid state. Compares to Nazis advocates for BDS boycott, divest, sanction. Economic warfare against American ally from inside American Congress. That is foreign agency, that is betrayal. That is what she is. AOC, not foreign agent, just fraud. Performance activist. Instagram, socialist, TikTok, revolutionary. Uses Congress for social media content. Uses politics for personal brand, not serving foreign country, just serving herself. Different fraud, same betrayal, same pattern of using political office for purposes other than representation. All protected by Democratic Party, all shielded by progressive media, all defended by activist base, all kept in office by safe districts, all voting together, all pushing America left, all attacking American interests, all serving purposes other than representation. Different motives? Maybe. Different beneficiaries? Perhaps. But same. Betrayal always. Never. America. First, always something else. First identity, ideology, foreign countries, personal brand. Anything but America. Everything but oath. Nothing sacred, nothing binding, nothing meaningful about representing Americans. Why does Democratic Party protect them? Why not remove them? Why not punish fraud? Why not enforce oaths? Why not demand loyalty? Because Democrats need their votes, need their activism, need their diversity, need their minority representation, need them for electoral coalition. Can't win without them, can't govern without them, can't maintain power without them. So protect them, defend them, excuse them, explain them, no matter the fraud, no matter the betrayal, no matter the foreign loyalty. Party over country, power over principle, votes over values, always. Why do voters keep electing them? Why not primary them? Why not replace them? Why not demand better? Because districts are safe, because identity protects them, because challenging them brings accusations, racism, Islamophobia, bigotry, intolerance. Attack Omar, and you are attacking Muslim woman. Attack Tlaib, and you are attacking Palestinian American. Attack them, and you are bigot. So they stay protected by identity, shielded by diversity, kept by political correctness, maintained by fear. No accountability, no consequences, no removal, just continuation, just representation, despite betrayal, just office, despite fraud, forever. The tide is turning. Finally, Americans are waking up, seeing through fraud, recognizing betrayal, understanding foreign agency. Mike Johnson exposed it, 5 rounds of evidence, 5 scandals documented, 5 frauds, proven all undeniable, all damning, all disqualifying. She cannot hide anymore, cannot deny anymore, cannot deflect anymore. Truth is, out evidence, is public pattern, is clear. She serves Somalia, not America. Somalia always, Somalia never America. And Americans see it now, understand it, now reject it, now, finally. What must Americans do? How do we prevent more foreign agents? How do we remove ones already there? How do we restore loyalty to American government? Demanded from every representative, every senator, every official, take oath to America means serve. America, represent Americans, means prioritize American interests. Get paid by American taxes means work for American. Benefit, not Somalia, not Palestine, not any foreign country, not personal brand, not ideology, not identity, America first, always, only. Scrutinize everyone, regardless of identity, regardless of diversity, regardless of representation. Minority representatives must be scrutinized like majority representatives. Muslim officials must be questioned like Christian officials. Immigrant politicians must be vetted like native politicians. Same standards, same scrutiny, same accountability, same expectations, no exceptions, no diversity shields, no identity protection, no political correctness. Barriers, just loyalty, just oath, just service to America. Remove foreign agents. Omar must go. Tlaib must go. Anyone serving foreign interests must go. Primary them, defeat them, replace them. With loyal Americans, with oath keepers, with representatives who actually represent, who actually serve, who actually put America first. Not Somalia first, not Palestine first, not themselves, first America first. Always. Support those who expose them, like Johnson did what others feared to do, called out foreign agent, presented evidence, built case, made it undeniable. Constitutional lawyer using constitutional knowledge to defend Constitution. Southern gentleman using polite manners to destroy betrayal. House Speaker using speaker power to expose fraud. That is leadership, that is courage. That is what America needs more. Johnsons, more truth-tellers, more evidence. Presenters, more fraud, exposers. People willing to be called racist to defend republic. People willing to be called bigot to expose foreign agents. People willing to be attacked to protect America. The foreign agent problem is real. It is documented, it is proven, it is dangerous. Ilhan Omar is foreign agent in American Congress. She serves Somalia while taking oath to America. She advocates for foreign interests while representing American district. She uses American power for foreign benefit. While getting American paycheck, she votes against American interests while sitting in American government. That is foreign agency, that is infiltration, that is subversion, that is exactly what foreign agents do, and she does it openly. Because no one stopped her until now, until Johnson, until exposure, until truth. But she is not alone. More exist, more foreign loyalties in American government, more representatives serving foreign masters, more officials taking oaths they don't mean, more politicians prioritizing foreign interests, more betrayal, more subversion, more foreign agency. And they must all be exposed, all be removed, all be replaced with loyal Americans, with oath keepers, with real representatives who actually serve America, who actually prioritize American interests, who actually mean their oaths. America first must mean something, must be enforced, must be required, not optional, not negotiable, not flexible, required, always from everyone. Or republic falls, democracy dies, America ends. That is what is at stake. That is why this matters. That is why Omar must go. Not because she is Muslim, not because she is black, not because she is immigrant, not because she is woman, because she is foreign agent, because she serves Somalia, because she betrays America, because she violates oath, because she is disloyal, because she is fraud, because she is danger. That is why, only why truth, why Mike Johnson proved it, 5 rounds, 5 scandals, 5 frauds, all documented, all proven, all disqualifying. She can't survive this, can't explain this, can't excuse this, can't continue this. She is exposed. She is finished. She is done. Truth won evidence. One America first won. And that is just beginning. More coming, more exposures, more foreign agents revealed, more frauds documented, more betrayals proven, more truth spoken, more accountability demanded, more loyalty required, more. America first enforced. Because republic depends on it. Democracy requires it. America deserves it. We, the people, demand it. Oath means something. Loyalty matters. America first isn't suggestion. It is requirement. It is oath. It is duty. It is non-negotiable. And anyone who violates it must go, must be removed, must be replaced with loyal Americans, with oath keepers, with real representatives, starting with Ilhan Omar, the congresswoman from Mogadishu, the foreign agent from Somalia. Somalia first never. America first until now, until exposure, until truth, until end. If this exposed Somalia first, Omar, for what she really is, subscribe right now, because she is not alone. She is not unique. Washington has more foreign agents, more representatives serving foreign countries, more officials taking oaths. They do not mean more politicians prioritizing foreign interests over American citizens. And we are going to expose them all, every single one. No exceptions, no mercy, just truth, just evidence, just accountability. Share this everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, email, text, every platform, every contact, every American needs to see. This needs to understand this, needs to recognize this. Foreign agent in our Congress taking our oath, getting our paycheck, representing our districts, serving Somalia, betraying America, violating everything. Make it viral. Make it massive. Make sure everyone knows who Ilhan Omar really is, who she really serves, where her loyalty really lies. Not America. Somalia, always. Somalia, never America. Comment right now which betrayal angered you most. Campaign finance fraud, paying millions to husband from your donations possible, marriage fraud, cheating immigration system you followed. Some people did something minimizing September 11th, while your family mourned $250 million stolen from hungry children by criminals connected to her Somalia. First loyalty calling Somali government our government instead of American government. Tell us, tell America, tell her, make your voice heard, make your anger known, make your demand clear. She must go, must be removed. must be replaced with loyal American, with oath keeper, with real representative. Not foreign agent, not Somalia, first America first. Only America, first always America first. And who should be exposed next? Rashida and her Palestine first loyalty, more squad members and their foreign allegiances, other representatives serving other countries, other officials taking oaths. They don't mean other politicians betraying America while representing Americans. Vote in comments. Tell us who is next. Tell us what fraud to expose. Tell us what betrayal to reveal. We are listening. We are investigating. We are preparing more. Coming more exposures, more truth, more accountability, more. Mike Johnson's needed too. More constitutional lawyers willing to present evidence, more leaders willing to build cases, more speakers willing to expose fraud, more truth-tellers willing to be attacked, more Americans willing to demand loyalty, more citizens willing to enforce oaths. That is how we save republic. That is how we restore democracy. That is how we protect America. One truth at a time, one exposure at a time, one foreign agent at a time, one betrayal at a time, until they are all gone, until they are all removed, until they are all replaced. With loyal Americans, with oath keepers, with real representatives. America first, always, only, forever. Subscribe so you do not miss what is coming. Share so others see what happened. Comment so America knows you are awake. You are aware. You are done accepting foreign agents. You are ready for truth. You are ready for accountability. You are ready for America first. You are ready for loyal representatives. You are ready for oath keepers. You are ready for real democracy. You are ready for restored republic. You are ready to fight. Somalia first. Omar is exposed. The foreign agent is revealed. The betrayal is documented. The fraud is proven. 5 rounds, 5 scandals, 5 betrayals, 1 truth. She serves Somalia, not America. Somalia, always. Somalia, never America. And she must go, must be removed, must be replaced. Truth demands it. Evidence proves it. America requires it. We, the people, enforce it. Let us go, subscribe, share, comment, fight, win. America first. Wins truth, wins loyalty, wins oath, wins republic, wins we win. Let us go.